Power to the truth. This is Margo. This is Wednesday, January 16th, 2019, and it's 4:22 p.m. Pacific Time, United States of America. And we're going to go over methane first and briefly go over comments, and I've got some articles on Australia to share with you. Then we'll get into the earthquake report. But what I have pulled up here is Copernicus Atmosphere Monitoring Services website with methane. And yesterday I was able to show you Saturday's data for methane. And then NowCams has 2 more days of data, Sunday and Monday, Sunday the 13th and Monday the 14th up. So I have the base time chosen as Sunday the 13th. And I just want to show you where we ended into the forecast period yesterday. So for the forecast period starting for Sunday, it looks very similar to the actual data. So I'm happy to see that the forecasts are pretty much in line, especially like within a day or so right after the data that they have. So we can, I'm going to trust the forecast period as we look at these things. So I have Saturday pulled up, not Saturday, Sunday. So I already have the movie loaded, and we are looking at the Arctic, so it's a closer up view than if we were looking at the North Pole. And this is surface level methane, and I already had the movie loaded, so it might be a little jumpy this first time through, but it should load up pretty fast here. So we've got data for Sunday and then Monday, and then the forecast period is Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So what we're seeing is this wave, this dark wave of methane being released in the Arctic, and then a second wave comes up at the end of the forecast period. So let that run through again. Okay, I'm going to pause it. So it didn't stop. That's okay, we'll let it run through again. So what we saw was a big dark wave being released from Russia and then coming up in the Kara Sea to the east of Novaya Zemlya and then spreading out westward. Here it is. Okay, so we're seeing this dark wave of methane, and this is with the new color ledger. So these are readings in the 2120 parts per billion up to this is 2140, and then this would be 2160 up to 10,000 parts per billion, this darkest color here. So it could be anywhere in between that, we just don't know. But then also we've got the orangey colors, and then it's all over 2,000 parts per billion, but this bright red is 2,100 parts per billion. So this is, like I said yesterday, it looks like a replay of what we saw at the end of November and the 1st of December, with a methane release coming up in the same region. And you can go back and see my videos from then where I'm showing it looks almost exactly the same, except it was the old color ledger, and so it was more of a dark red and black through this whole region before they changed the color ledger. And we also have methane coming up out of the East Siberia ice shelf, or ice region, and see where it's red coming up here. And the sea ice, it's coming up through the cracks in the ice. And here's Svalbard here. So I just wanted to show you some temperatures up there. First of all, I have Earth Null School pulled up, and this is the Arctic region, and what I have chosen here is the ocean. The mode is the ocean, and I have sea surface temperature turned on. So that's what I've got going on here. And so if we click on anywhere, like here's Svalbard, so let me zoom in a tiny bit. So if we click down here, that's showing the surface temperature of the ocean as being 60 degrees Fahrenheit, which is really warm. And we can switch it to, it's 15.9 degrees Celsius. So it's way above freezing there. And this is why there's no sea ice in this area. Here's another warm spot, 8.6 degrees Celsius, which is 47.4 degrees Fahrenheit. And then here's Novaya Zemlya, and this is the area that we're seeing this heavy release coming up and around. So let's just click here. That's showing at 29 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's just barely under freezing, because in the Fahrenheit scale that freezing is at 32. Here, the temperature right here at the bottom of the island is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's right at freezing. Here's 31. Here's 35. So these temperatures are above freezing or very close to freezing, and so it's being released. And so I would imagine that the ice that's around these areas where you're not seeing the ocean waves, this would be ice. I would imagine that that's not very cold either. Okay, so if I'm clicking and it's showing 29 degrees Fahrenheit, so that's barely under freezing. It's minus 1.5 degrees Celsius. Okay, so I didn't know we could get the temperature of the ice surface here. This is good to know. So this is right around freezing or just a little bit below. So let's look. Actually, see this whole area, I don't know if this is accurate or not. It's all showing like just a little bit below freezing, like minus 1.7 degrees Celsius. Maybe that's not a real accurate reading. I don't know. I'm just kind of experimenting with Earth Null School to get sea surface temperatures here. So I just found that interesting, and that's why we can see this release, because it's melting, it's coming up from underneath, and the only explanation that I can come up with is that it's warming up, the water and everything is warming up from underneath and releasing the methane, and it's coming up from the ground, and it's coming up from the sediments in the ocean there, and in the sediments over here, and up all through the sea ice, because it's not real thick, and I'm sure there are cracks in the sea ice, and we're seeing large release down here as well. So I just wanted to share all that with you. So we'll leave that up as a backdrop. And I also have Climate Reanalyzer pulled up for 2-meter temperature anomaly. We can see that around Novaya Zemlya it's up into the browns, and so the air is warmer than it normally would be. And then over the Arctic we've got a whole area that's warmer than it normally should be or would be. And remember, this is our sea ice and snow cover model, and so we can see that right around this area where that methane is coming up red and that dark brown is, there's no ice there, and then it is coming up through where there is ice, just not as heavy. And so there's that. So I just wanted to cover a couple of comments while we're here about the methane. Sultan Bev chimed in. This is one of my scientific friends, and says, "Hi Margo, not had time to catch up with all your videos, but was looking at cams and Climate Reanalyzer today and realized that the methane plumes in the Arctic are actually coming through the ice off the eastern side of Novaya Zemlya and in the East Siberian Sea. How is that even possible?" I know it doesn't seem possible, but I just showed that the surface temperature of that water is at freezing or higher, or just a tiny bit below freezing, and so it's warming from underneath. And Seymour Rocks 97, who is Robin Westenra, chimes in and says, "It hardly seems credible, but that is what must be happening. It has to come from somewhere." And it's warming from underneath and it's being released. And that's all I know about that. Dave Harris says, "I sure do appreciate your reports. You seem to be the only one putting out regular methane reports. We're seeing such a remarkable increase in seismic and volcanic activity. Weather patterns have also changed dramatically. It is interesting that the poles are moving rapidly and a pole shift might be imminent. Such an event would leave the Earth unusually vulnerable to the solar winds and cosmic rays. Interesting times we're living in. Thank you so much for these updates. Power to the truth. God bless you." Thank you, Dave Harris. I appreciate your comment, and I totally agree with you on all your observations. And God bless you too. Thank you for being here. And I agree, and we're living in chaotic times, and we're going to see more and more chaos as the days go by. And speaking of weather patterns, my friend Dave Alcock messaged me about the jet stream and the precipitation, and he was talking about this band of moisture that's basically circling the planet here, and that the jet stream has just kind of like gone kaput. And so like, here's the jet stream. We can see it's really just right around the center, and then it's got doing some loops, some little crazy loops up here. But this is exactly what we were that the climate scientists were talking about, that with the warming of the atmosphere, it holds more water, and the jet stream goes out of kilter, and also with the warmer atmosphere, it holds more water, and so it creates these larger and bigger storms, and like superstorms, like the super hurricanes and the super thunderstorms and things that just keep dumping and dumping, and the super snowstorms or drought, incredible drought in places that you normally wouldn't have it. Here's the 2-meter temperature anomaly, and now let's look down at Australia, and we see that they're pretty much brown all the way across the planet, and they're up into the red zone, into 20 degrees Celsius warmer than normal. So I've got Robin Westenra's blog post from today on the extreme heat wave in Australia that enters the 3rd day. And so I'm just going to hit some highlights here, just showing you the extreme heat, and it's off the charts, and they're cooking, and people are actually dying down there from the heat and being hospitalized. And it says, Australia extreme heat wave, code red, issued as Port Augusta hits 48.9 degrees Celsius. Now, for those of us in the Western Hemisphere who don't know how high that is, 48 degrees Celsius is 118 degrees Fahrenheit. So that was almost at 49. So 49 degrees Celsius is 120.20 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's about 120 degrees. And I don't think I've ever been in 120 degree weather. I lived in Tucson, Arizona for a couple of years. The heat was unbelievable. It might have been close to 120 once or twice while I was there, but I couldn't take it. I was getting heat stroke just like being outside for a little bit. So that's what they're dealing with down there. It says severe weather conditions forecast to bring maximum temperatures 8°C to 16°C above average, as 3 towns record overnight minimums of 33°C. Australia's extreme heat wave enters 3rd day as temperatures soar. And I think they're showing a contrast between Russia, which is minus 56 degrees, and here's Australia at 49 degrees at Port Augusta down here in the southern part, in that red area down there. And so this is from The Guardian. It says Port Augusta in South Australia has reached 48.9 degrees Celsius on Tuesday as a heat wave sets in across much of Australia, threatening more record hot days. All-time highest minimum temperatures have also been broken in 3 places. Caldera in Western Australia and Fowler's Gap and White Cliffs in New South Wales all registered an overnight minimum of 33°C on Monday. So let's get our converter table, because I don't know any of these temperatures. 33°C is 91.4 degrees Fahrenheit. So that was their low at night. So that's hot when it only cools down to 91 degrees. That's really uncomfortable. And it goes on and on. And they're saying daytime maximums extend up to the mid-40s. The mid-40s is going to be from 104 and up to well, the high is, well, the 49C is 120. So 104 to 120. Uh-oh, wrong one. Okay. So they've got alerts and codes, and they've got fires going on. So you just click on the link at the top of each article and you can find it. World's hottest places, all located in Australia amid intense heat wave. This is another article. Hottest places in the world, January 15th. All down here in Australia. And here they are by degrees. The 49.1 in Tarcoola, 49 at Port Augusta, 48 at Woomera Aerodrome, 47.9 at Olympic Dam, 47.8 at Hay Airport, and it just goes on and on. Matters are made worse in Sydney, where there is a health warning in place with high levels of ozone expected due to poor air quality. Oh yeah, the ground level ozone can cause lots of problems, especially people who have asthma and allergies and lung problems and heart problems. Definitely staying cool over the next few days right across the state is the advice. So stay inside. The Udnadatta Airport, 50.7 degrees Celsius. Let's see how hot that was in Fahrenheit. 50 was over 122. Probably about 123. So, you know, the roads could start melting at that temperature. Remember last summer I saw pictures from Phoenix, Arizona, where the temperatures got so high that the rubber tires on the vehicles were melting, and plastic things were, like the plastic fans were melting, the ceiling fans, and the roads were melting, and it's awful. Lightning strikes spark fires. Fire warnings issued and residents on alert. So temperatures around Australia today. Record-breaking conditions as extreme heat wave hits Australia, etc., etc. So there you have it. And in the meantime, up in the northern hemisphere, Europe is still getting dumped on with snow, and I live in Reno, Nevada, and we're getting a winter storm in. It's just started, well, round 2 of it, and you can see this big thing coming in, and it's going to be coming into California, where they had that fire, Paradise Fire, and they're predicting flooding and avalanches and all kinds of stuff, and mudslides, and they're telling people to evacuate over there in California because of what's coming over there. And even here in Reno, they're giving out sandbags to people if they want to, like, put them in front of their doors to keep the water out. So there you go. So let's go back to our comments, and then we'll get right into our earthquake report. So Troy Turton says Vanuatu magnitude 6.6, 46 kilometers deep. Should have happened before you did the report. I'm sure you will mention it. Yes, it did, Troy. And I did. And he says, yes, that one off the coast being labeled as Maryland when it's quite a bit out in the ocean is strange. I haven't seen one that close to New Jersey, be it in the ocean or on land, since the Washington, D.C. one. The Atlantic ones are usually much further out to sea. North Atlantic Shelf is what they are usually labeled. When I was watching the storm chasers, sometimes the GPS they used to mark on the map where a driver was did the same thing. So a chaser would be out in the Gulf of Mexico or in the Red River in Texas. Yeah, because you don't know where those things are with just GPS. Thank you, Troy. DDDSB says, Margo, you're obsessed. Well, I don't know if I'm obsessed more. I would like to consider myself more, I'm thorough and I'm a finisher. You know, when I start a project, I finish it, and I'm thorough, and I go into a lot of detail. Anyway, he says, I love your posts. Many thanks. Your voice soothes me in incredible ways. The methane situation, or truth, is disturbing. We are in for hot summers and tougher times. Keep up the great work. Thank you, DDDSB. And thank you for being here, and thank you for your comment. And then David Alcock, my friend from England, left a couple of messages. He says, you do have a secret password, Margo. Not for the internet, but for people's hearts and minds. Oh, thank you, David. That's very sweet of you. And then he leaves a very poetic statement. The world is so empty if one thinks only of mountains, rivers, and cities, but to know someone who thinks and feels with us, and who, though distant, is close to us in spirit, this makes the earth for us an inhabited garden. Thank you, David. I appreciate these inspirational comments that you're leaving. That's very sensitive and very kind. And I think it helps people's moods to read comments like that. So thank you. I really appreciate you, and thank you for being there and for your friendship. So let's get right into, I think that was it. Yeah, that was it for comments from yesterday, and I've shown you my other things. Let's get right into our earthquake report, because there are going to be some earthquakes falling off the map here pretty soon from my report from yesterday. I have USGS pulled up for 24 hours, all magnitudes, and we're seeing 216 earthquakes worldwide. And so if we start with 2.5 magnitude worldwide, we have 40 on the map. So let's start with the ones that are going to fall off soon. And right off the bat, we're seeing one up here in between Greenland and Norway, right on that red line, and one down here in the South Atlantic. And we're seeing bigger ones across the United States, and seeing them just popping up around these red lines. So let's start with this 3.2 in the Dominican Republic that happened yesterday at 5:11 p.m. Pacific time, 61 kilometers deep. There was a 4.6 near Indonesia. Well, let's just go right down here to Indonesia and get all of these, and we'll just start down here in the southern area, since those are going to come off the map soon. So this one that's highlighted was a 4.6. That was 129 kilometers deep. It happened yesterday at 5:17 p.m. There were two right up here on this red line. A 5.4 near Tobelo, Indonesia, that happened this morning at 2:49 a.m., 10 kilometers deep, and a 5.1 right next to it that happened at 2:53 a.m. today, 10 kilometers deep. So those were within 4 minutes of each other. So we've seen a lot of activity right up here in this area in the last week or two. So we saw that one, the 4.6 near Saparua. Did we see that one? 4.6 near Saparua, Indonesia. Yeah, 129 kilometers deep. Then here's one off the coast of Papua New Guinea that happened this morning at 10:29 a.m. It was a 4.5, 10 kilometers deep. Then down here at New Caledonia, there was a 5.4 that happened yesterday at 8:12 p.m., 10 kilometers deep. And then a 5.1 that happened yesterday at 5:51 p.m., 10 kilometers deep. So that's right on the red line. Here's one west of Norfolk Island. It was a 4.3. It happened today at 7:35 this morning, 10 kilometers deep. So, see, it's to the northwest of New Zealand, that tip of New Zealand. Then there was one up here, a 5.0 near Hihifo, Tonga, that happened at 12:16 this morning, 10 kilometers deep, right there on that red line. So we got all those. Now let's go up here. There was a 4.7 near Bamo, Burma, that happened this afternoon at 1:39 p.m., 14 kilometers deep. Here's one that just came in, a 3.9 near Somptse, Bhutan, that happened at 3:56 p.m. today, 10 kilometers deep. Nothing else over there. Now up here, north of Japan, there was a 4.3. They're calling it near Russia. Okay, this is Japan down here, and then this is like the Russian area with these islands, the Kuril Islands. 4.3 near Otrada, Russia, that came in today at 4:11 this morning, 171 kilometers deep. So that was deeper near that red line. So that could cause some movement. Let's go down here to the South Atlantic. There was a 5.1 on the southern mid-Atlantic ridge at 12:30 this morning, 10 kilometers deep, right on the red line, right in between two plates there. And then up here in the Arctic Circle, here was a 4.8 in the Norwegian Sea that happened at 2:44 this afternoon, 10 kilometers deep. And we've seen earthquakes up here in this Arctic region. And that doesn't surprise me. It's been a while since we've seen any up there. So let's go to Dominican Republic next. Now remember, all of these are above 2.5 magnitude or higher. So I'll just click them and call them off. 3.2, Dominican Republic, 2.9, 2.9, 2.7, 2. That one got on there. That's up in Tennessee. Let's move our map. Okay, 3.0, 2.8, 3.3. That's near Boca de Yuma, Dominican Republic. 2.6, 2.5, 3.1, 3.4. That's the biggest one. 3.4 out here near Roadtown, British Virgin Islands. That happened at 2:38 p.m. this afternoon, 96 kilometers deep. So that's showing 11 earthquakes, 2.5 magnitude and higher. Now let's see all magnitudes there. 16. So there were 5 more that were under 2.5 magnitude. So there's those. Now let's go to Hawaii. We're seeing 7 here. I'll just call them off. 1.8, 1.9, 2.4 at Volcano, Hawaii, 3.2 Pahala, Hawaii. That's a little higher. 2.2, 1.5, and 1.6. Those were all on the mainland. Now let's go up to Alaska. First of all, here's this one in the Aleutian Islands. There was a 3.3 near Adak, Alaska at 9:47 this morning, 35 kilometers deep. Let's go back over to our 2.5 magnitude and higher to hit the highlights in Alaska first. 6, 2.5 magnitude and higher. 3.2 near Redoubt Volcano, 162 kilometers deep. 2.7 near Larsen Bay, 39 kilometers deep. 2.8 near Kodiak, 10 kilometers deep. 2.9 near Kodiak, 10 kilometers deep. 2.9 right here on the border between Alaska and Canada near Eagle Village, Alaska, 12.4 kilometers deep. And 3.3 near Adak. I'm not seeing that. Oh, it's down here. We already looked at that. 35 kilometers deep. This one down in the Aleutian Islands. Now let's go to our all magnitudes to get more of the picture here. So we're seeing with all magnitudes of Alaska, there were 74 in the last 24 hours. So the rest of these, so most of them were under 2.5 then. Looks like they were mainly 1s and low 2s. And we can zoom in and see the cluster up here in the Anchorage area still, where they had that big one a few weeks ago. Now let's go down to the United States. well, let's go to Mexico first. Okay, we saw some earthquakes right down here. I don't know, was it a week ago? In the Gulf of California. So we're having some more. Here's a 4.2 that happened near Libertad, Mexico at 11:08 this morning. 10 kilometers deep. Then there was looks like a couple, yeah, two right here, 2.3 and a 2.9 near Alberto Oviedo Mota in Baja, 20 kilometers deep. Now let's go over here. Here's another one in Shelbyville, Tennessee, 2.8 magnitude, 7.4 kilometers deep. This happened yesterday at 6:37 p.m. Here are two more in the New Madrid fault area, seismic area. Here's a 1.4 near Ridgely, Tennessee, 7.1 kilometers deep, and a 2.2 near Lepanto, Arkansas, 8.3 kilometers deep. Then Oklahoma's had some more. Here's another one. Here's a 2.2 near Luther, Oklahoma, 6.4 kilometers deep. Then there was a 4.0, so that's a larger one, in Kansas, near Caldwell, Kansas. That was 2.5 kilometers deep, that happened yesterday at 7:34 p.m. Now let's go up to northern area. Here's a 2.2 near Victoria, Canada, 26 kilometers deep. Okay, we've got some small ones happening. Here's a 1.0 to the west of Seattle. That was 17 kilometers deep. 0.7 near Buckley, Washington. And an explosion, 1.4 magnitude explosion near Vennersburg, Washington. Right down here, it was northeast of Portland, Oregon. Minus 0.9 kilometers depth, so that was up on a hill or in a mountain. So they were blasting. And we've been seeing a lot of blasting recently. Here's one at Cave Junction, Oregon, and 1.5, 34 kilometers deep. Now let's go over to the Yellowstone area. Getting lost. Here we go. We have 8 on, well, let me get just Yellowstone here. 8 on the map, 0.9 at Lima, 1.7 quarry blast near Butte, Montana, minus 2 kilometers deep. We saw one there yesterday. Up in the mountain, or on the mountain, if it's that high up. 0.5 Lima, 1.2 at Lincoln, Montana, 0.7 Manhattan, 1.0 Lincoln, 1.0 Lincoln. That's it. So mainly right up here in this area is what we're seeing. So let's come on down. I think I got all those. Yeah, we got the Lima. Let's come on down through Utah now. We have 3 on the map, 3.8 right here near Enterprise, Utah. That happened at 2 o'clock this afternoon, 8.9 kilometers deep, and a 2.8 at Enterprise that happened at 1:58. So 2 minutes apart. This one was 6.9 kilometers deep. So those 2 earthquakes were 2 minutes apart. And then there was another one down here on the other side of the border up in Arizona, a 1.6 that was 0.9 kilometers deep. Now let's go back up to Northern California and Nevada. So we got this one. Okay, we got that one. Now, well, let's do Nevada and then we'll do California. First, we've got this one up here. Here's another one in the Smoke Creek Desert. This happened last night, almost at 11 o'clock last night, 3.2 kilometers deep. It was a 1.9 magnitude. We saw another one there yesterday too, earlier in the day. Now Carson City has a couple, well, Dayton, 1.1 and 1.2. And then there's the Gardnerville area. We're not seeing anything register near Lake Tahoe. Just those 2 in Dayton. Okay, quite a few down here near Hawthorne. We've got how many? We've got 12 in the viewing area there. And this is Walker Lake, so they're just scattered around there. And they're not that big, like 0.1 up to 1.4. So we got 12 right there. Then there's 1.7 just across the border. And remember, this is Mono Lake here. So this is part of the active area. Then let's finish up Nevada. Okay, let's go over here. Here's another explosion that happened west of Ely. It was a 2.1 magnitude that happened today at 1:24 p.m. 2 kilometers deep. So that they're doing a lot of blasting for that. Here's a 1.6 at Courant again. Here, now let's go on down. And we've got 14 here in this area, including these over in Utah. So we've got 11 here in Nevada. We got some microquakes, minus 0.5, minus 0.1, and so forth. That's common with these that happen in this area, because this is where the Nevada test site and Area 51 are located. So there's stuff going on underground there, no doubt. Now let's look at Long Valley. Mammoth Lakes, the Long Valley Caldera is down here. Look at this cluster. This cluster, there are 10 right here, all clustered right there. There's the highest one is a 2.3, so we're seeing that there's an uptick here in magnitude and number. So that's the highest magnitude, then 1.4, 1.8, and the others are lower than that. Then here's one. Here's a 0.4 east of Mammoth Lakes. Then here's some more, all in this area. 2.0 at Round Valley, right down here. And Tom's Place, 1.4 and 0.4 at Mammoth Lakes. So quite a bit of activity going on there. Let's get these two. Here's a 0.9 near Little Lake and 1.2 near Cyril's. Now let's go back up and get the west side of California. Let's start with the geysers. We have 10 here. 2.6 is a high, 2.7, and the rest are under that, mostly in the ones. 2.6 and 2.7. Now that's getting higher in magnitude. Okay, down here in the San Francisco area, we've got, this is a cluster here. How many do we have? We've got 4 here. There's a 3.4. That's the biggest one, 3 kilometers north of Piedmont, that happened at 4:42 this morning, 11.7 kilometers deep. So this is right near Berkeley and right near Oakland. So that's getting up there in magnitude. Then there was a 1.9, same place, and a 2.0, same place, and a 1.1 a little bit to the west of it. So these all happened this morning. This one was at 4:42 a.m., then 4:45 a.m., 4:48 a.m. So 3 minutes apart on all of those. And then this one was at 8:52 a.m. So those 3 were 3 minutes apart, whatever that means. Now coming down this San Andreas fault line, 2.3 near Los Altos Hills, 5.5 kilometers deep, 1.4 near Aromas, 7.6 kilometers deep, 1.9 near Tres Pinos, 6.5 kilometers deep. Now we're coming on down into Southern California. Into the Los Angeles and Southern California. Got them all on the map here. There are 24 showing up today. This whole area. Let's see what size that one is. A 2.3 near Pear Blossom. Okay, so 24. Let's see the magnitudes. Here's a 2.1 near Beaumont over here. Got some small ones. A lot of small ones, 0.5s, 0.4s. And then in the 1s range, then the 2.3 at Pear Blossom. So I think that's it. Let's see if anything else came in while we were doing our report here. Got some more that have come in up in Alaska, some smaller ones. Let's check our 2.5 magnitude and higher. Okay. We got that one. Or did we get? We got this one near Sompsey, Bhutan. And we got the Norwegian Sea one. And we got the 3.4, the British Virgin Islands. I think that's it for today. So I'm going to wrap it up and let everyone get on with their days or their nights, wherever you are. So until next time, my name is Margo. My message is time is short. No one knows the day or the hour, but I recommend everyone get their spiritual houses in order. And I love all of you, and until next time, God bless you. Go in peace, and good night.